So you might have heard of this guy, but if you haven't, this guy's name is Shahid Shafi. He is the vice chairman of the Tarrant County Republican Party. That's a county in Texas. And there was a vote recently to kick him out, basically. And luckily, as in I think this is a very, very good thing, the vote failed. 139 to 49. 139 voted to keep him in his position. 49 voted to kick him out. Now that's a bit higher than I would have liked, but this is something that gladly I've seen lots of Republicans and conservatives come out and say, yeah, we shouldn't kick out this guy. And you might be wondering, obviously, why are we kicking out this guy? Well, he's a Muslim. He is a practicing Muslim. He is out and proudly declares himself a Muslim. He has been, as far as I can tell, his whole life. And I don't want to strawman the people that wanted to kick him out, but obviously, there are all kinds of different people that wanted him out for different reasons. Some of them ranging from just out, he is a Muslim and therefore he is bad. He is a Muslim and therefore we need to kick him out because he can't represent this community. And then some more extreme people saying we need to kick him out because he is an Islamic extremist. Or he has ties to Islamic extremists. Of which, I tried. I spent a good hour trying to find any legitimate proof of connections, and I have found nothing. This guy does not seem to be any sort of radical. The guy is a practicing Muslim. He is a reformed Muslim as far as I can tell, and he is a Republican. And I think that says a lot, the fact that he is the vice chairman of the GOP. You don't find very many Islamic radicals living in Texas becoming the vice chairman of the Republican Party, who is obviously influencing policies that will hurt Islamic radicals. I guess people have accused him of being like a plant, and I guess They rely on the whole concept of, I think it's pronounced taqiyya, maybe. I'm probably butchering that, but it's a concept in Islamic doctrine, which essentially says people that aren't Muslim are bad, and therefore it is not immoral to lie to non-Muslims. You can be as two-faced and as much of a liar to non-Muslims as you want, and essentially that's okay. That's not an immoral thing. That is something in Islamic doctrine. And just like every religion, there are people that follow the doctrine very, very literally, very closely. And then you have other more reformed people that tend to say, okay, there are obviously bad parts of this that we are going to either reinterpret or ignore. And that's essentially how that is. And he seems to be in the latter category. I see no evidence that he is any form of extremist. And I think the people going after him and saying, yeah, we need to kick this guy out is just they're playing into the stereotype in which they are actually being they are actively against this guy solely because of his religion, which again, that goes against the whole concept of religious freedom. In my opinion, I have so many different friends or acquaintances of different political ideologies and opinions, and I have nothing against these people as long as they're not going to start as long as they're not extremely radical and preaching hatred against me or violence against me. Those people I have nothing to do with. But I think it's a good, this is a very reassuring thing, because there's all kinds of accusations of the whole right-wing people hate all Muslims. They are Islamophobic, which I hate that word. It's a stupid word, but the accusations of yes all Muslims, even though it's just a tiny part of extremists, you hate all Muslims. And when it comes down to it, the vast majority of people on the right, as far as I can tell, they're yes, all Islamists. Yes, all people that support the whole concept of Sharia law. The actual extremists, the radical Islamists, yes, those people are horrible. But I've seen, I'm very reassured to see that there are a lot of actual, Muslim, liberal in the classical sense, conservative people that the right wing has embraced very well. You have Imam Tahiti, who is a fantastic dude. I've watched a lot of his stuff. Great dude. The right has really embraced him. You have people like Majid Nawaz, who is more liberal, or classically liberal, I should say, who is a bit more not as anti-Islamist as I think a lot of people would like, but he's gotten a lot of support as just being generally he wants to reform Islam. Someone like him, and that's something I'd support. But this whole thing has been, I think, overall an embarrassment. But the fact that it's only been, I guess, a quarter of people that voted against him, roughly a quarter, is reassuring. The fact that it was 49 to 139, because you got to remember, you have all these people, all these good, conservative, anti-Islamist Republicans backing this guy, saying, yeah, he's a good dude. He's lived here for a while. He's a trauma surgeon, for one. Like, he's like, this guy, I don't see any evidence that this guy is some kind of radical. When they bring up the whole idea that, yes, he can lie, he can live a lie. Well, yeah, but I mean, there's a point where you have to kind of believe the dude. Like, if the guy's been a good family man, a good conservative dude, very loved in the community for decades, and then there's a point at where you have to say, yeah, he's probably not lying. Like, he could be, I suppose, but he's probably not. It says he was a citizen in 2009, and he even says something I greatly respect here. He's come out and said, yeah, he has pretty much no animosity. Yeah, right here. He said he holds no animosity towards people who backed the failed motion to recall him, and that he was proud to be an American and a Republican. That's what I appreciate. Like, this is what the GOP and the right wing needs to get behind. People like this who say, yeah, like, this is my religion, but I'm reformed. I'm obviously not a radical. I'm opposed to the radicals, and that's it. Because what happens is, if you start kicking out an entire group because of their their religious ideology, or because of their race, their anything like that, once you start kicking out those people, they're going to get really angry. Like, once you start saying, okay, here is something that it is a key part of who you are, and like, there's no way of getting out of that, especially when it comes to race. It's like, you obviously can't choose your race. You can choose your religion, but there's a point where, like, I don't expect people to completely renounce religion or anything. I at least expect people to renounce the horrible parts. And in my opinion, it's like, if you want to do that, fine. Then you're going to win people over that way. As you can say, you can be part of us. We will gladly welcome you into our community. You can keep parts of your culture. You can keep parts of your religion, as long as you eliminate the really bad stuff and pretty much assimilate in a way that makes you a welcome part of the community, and we will gladly welcome you. And then there are people where it's like, no, it's as long as you are even the least bit different from us in this certain aspect, which, I'm not characterizing a large part of people. This is, I admit, a small group of people. This is by no means a majority. But the people that say, like, yeah, there's no way you can win me over, there's no way I will accept you in any way, well, at that point, you're just strengthening the divide. Once people realize that there's no point in trying to assimilate, there's no point in trying to really, like, immerse yourself into, there's no point in trying to compromise, at that point they're going to say screw you, and they're going to become radicals. That's what we see with a lot of the move towards, like, the white nationalism. A lot of people have adopted white nationalism, mostly because, and I'm not justifying it, I'm not denying, like, I'm not endorsing it or anything, but a lot of the people that seem to adopt white nationalism have the perspective that, like, hey, there's no point in trying. Like, there's no point in, like, they feel so much animosity just because, like, oh, white privilege, and they're a terrible person because they're white. They're a racist because they're white. That's what pushes them in that direction, because they're like, well, there's no way to compromise. There's no way to meet in the middle or anything, and I can't choose not to be of a certain race, so it's like, screw it. And they move in that direction. And that's what it comes down to here. It's like, how to create Islamic extremists? We'll just be like, yes, all Muslims are horrible, evil people, and we're going to kick you out, and we're not going to appreciate you just because of your religion. That takes precedence over everything. I think that's where you're going to create the radicals. And if you want to de-radicalize people, it's down to, yeah, we will welcome you, we will gladly accept you, as long as you, like, at least make an attempt to meet in the middle. You renounce the horrible part. You renounce any calls for violence or authoritarianism. And once you do that, it's like, yeah, we can live in peace. And this guy seems like a nice dude. And I think the fact that he was backed by, I read this article like 3 times and I still can't find exactly where it is. There's a part where it says people like Ted Cruz. Like, there's a lot of big conservative names that have spoken out against like radical Islamism, that have said, yeah, this guy's a good dude. Like, I know this dude, he's a good guy, and we have nothing against him. And there was even a part here in the article, I'll leave the article in the description if you want to look for it, where it says that, oh jeez, I just drew a blank. Where it says that he's been a part of the community for so long, and let the voters decide. That was it. They said, like, hey, he does not represent the voters. They said he, being a Muslim, does not represent the voters in a majority, like, Christian area. Like, because he can't represent the voters, we should kick him out. Well, obviously the voters decided. Like, the voters just decided here, 49 to 139, that they're fine with him representing them. They just voted right there that this is not a big enough difference. They're fine with that. They're fine with this person representing them, even though there's a difference in religion, because they overlap ideologically in so many different ways. And if the guy starts if the guy starts changing, that's what a system of checks and balances does. You can kick out this guy if he starts leaning more radical, or if he shows his true colors, as they theorize. You can kick him out in a few years. But at this point, it seems that he is such a beloved member of the community that they've accepted him. And I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that they've defied the stereotype here. Because I think people get too stuck in their echo chambers there, where they hear so many bad things about radical Islamism, they start actually getting into the mindset of, okay, yes, all Muslims. It's no, that's not the case. In the Middle East, perhaps you can say yes, all Muslims. If you poll the Middle East, it's a lot of those people, there's a very surprisingly high amount of people in the Middle East that support suicide bombings, even though they aren't actual suicide bombers. But then you look at, you start polling Muslims in the United States, the more westernized Muslims, I guess you could say, and it's they are pretty much Americans. They are American people that have that have pretty much that will gladly align with America over any sort of Sharia state. But no, I think this was something that it was kind of like a dark stain here on the right, and they gladly said we defy the stereotype. And this is something you can reference from now on too. When the left goes and says no, these people hate all Muslims, they're Islamophobes. It's point to this right here. Texas, one of the most conservative parts of the United States. They just defined that stereotype, and they were no, as long as you're going to be westernized, as long as you're adopting Western culture, we will gladly accept you. And that's what they did here. 3/4 of them, which is way over half. So, but let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. Leave your comments. Maybe this guy is a secret radical, because the last thing I wanted to do was post a video saying, yeah, this guy's not bad, and then someone immediately say, actually, this guy has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood or something like that, or this guy has ties to Saudi Arabia, something like that. But I tried hard to find any evidence of that, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find anything that said, yes, here, I've seen accusations, but I haven't seen any direct evidence. Anything that would make me say, okay, yeah, that's kind of scary there. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. And thanks for watching.